Hi, Bob Greeny here, volunteer with the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, and I'm here again with Henk Jurrien, and we are going to talk more about coherence and ideas and experiments around that. And so I guess we're going to go back straight to the VEGA Valley itself, and this idea that Henk had of this hiding process. And we were talking in the previous video about how the crack initiates the process with the electrode, and we are seeing the actual crack. So it's actually this way up, like that. And you can see the serrated edges here that the ball lightning made. Okay, and the valley was underneath that, making the channel, right?
And what's important to note, that on top of it, you can see it's black, but nothing happens. It's nothing, not much. The things you see is parts falling from the anode or something, dirt from the anode and dirt from the whole system, but not really activity. You cannot see things happening there.
I mean, you can see a ball here, and then the ball might be radiating something that it's producing.
You can see all flashing coming
yeah,
out.
yeah.
You can see there is a lot of movements going on.
There's
a party going on, what I said before. That you can see this below.
Yeah.
But on top it's empty.
Yeah.
Especially only when there is a little piece falling on it, then the plasma can hide behind that one, and then you get activity on top of the cathode, but otherwise it's quiet.
So you can see this highly serrated edge as you come in to look at the valley section itself. And so if there was transmutations occurring in the balls and there was some ejecta as they grew and went away and grew and went away, just like it's depositing things in the channels here, it could have been maybe coming from the anode as ions were coming from the anode, or from the events that are occurring here. But that being said, the brass plates, I don't know if it's very clear, but it's definitely clear when you look at it under a microscope. It was kind of brushed. And this, if you can imagine, you had this flat surface, and the other flat, this is lying on the other piece of notionally flat brass. You actually have these scrape marks, and the scrape marks present a load of different combinations, because it's curved, and you've got another curve at 90 degrees to that of scrape marks. That will create a load of micro cavities. And so not only do you have this self-forming cavity that starts off with the crack between these two plates, where we were talking about the birthing of the ball lightning structures, but it's consuming and eating its own channels to the side. In the side areas here, you have the potential for resonance and cracks and different scales of cracks. And why I'm saying this is, if you go and look at the Lockheed Martin patent, where they are emitting electron clusters across a electric field, where they have from the emitters to the anode a potential field, across a magnetic field 90 degrees to that, they have these 10 micron channels. And the purpose of these 10 micron cavities is to force the coherence in the matter, to force it into a coherent matter wave state. And I believe that the gap, the self-organizing and construction of the gap, in combination with these abraded layers, provides an opportunity for this hiding condensate to gather coherence in a way that it just simply doesn't when you are, or doesn't easily when you are facing a bare electrode, or you are in a plasma, an electrolysis situation. So with that in mind, what were you doing here, Henk? And if you can show the construction of this sub-cathode, as it were, and your reasoning behind it.
Yeah, well, this plate is used in the new tank, it resides on the side of the tank with this pointy structure. And I wanted to replicate this VEGA Valley without having this discussion with WOP and so on, but I wanted to see if this could happen again. So I tried something, and with I have to recall what I put under it. On one of these, I think this one is a piece of metal, iron, and I put some KOH. I think this one was with the KOH. And when we flip it over, you can see that there was a lot of things going on. This one I put on top to make cavities again, and you can see already that things are happening.
Definitely not on these two, but on this corner and this corner, there's definitely some action going on. And it looks again like it's coming in from the edge.
It's coming in from the edge. It's happening under that piece of brass. And then when you take this piece of brass, and oh yeah,
should we take these ones off first so you can see?
Okay, right.
So are they all brass or?
It's all brass.
Okay.
This piece is copper.
Right.
This piece is copper. We can take it off first. It is the same pipe as this one. I just a little thinner one, and I flattened it just to be copper, and put it on. And what you see is virtually
not a lot.
Nothing.
Not a lot at all.
Happens. And like this one, nothing.
Almost
happens.
nothing. Yeah.
Only in the center, it starts to do something. It starts to eat in it.
So in the central zone between these things, which was under this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This one is essentially the same.
Again, not very little. There seems to be some creep in from the gap on the edge here.
Yeah, and I don't know where it is. Maybe I put it under the wrong one. There is, and this one the same. I think this looks like this was here.
So I'm going to go and look. I've zoomed into that, so you can see this creep in here.
And I put in this little piece of iron there to make.
Maybe see if it can attract it in. Yes. So hold on. I'll zoom out. I didn't see that. Okay. So this piece of iron was on this. Oh, I've gone in too far there. So yeah, you had the brass, then a piece of iron, and then this piece of brass, and it seems to have come in from the edge, and it's even bled underneath this piece of iron, hasn't it?
Is it? It's
a little way.
It's a little bit, and yeah.
This is interesting because you've got these. If I can zoom into that. Yeah, it has these little channels, but again, coming in from the edge.
Yep.
So the edge is enough to start the process, and then it's come in and gone into these kind of like tendrils here. In fact, I'm going to see if I can go right into that. Look at that. So you've got the edge, and then you've got the boundary where the iron was, and the channel seems to have become much smaller. They're more spread out here when it goes underneath the iron into much sort of almost like is it Liechtenstein figures? It's kind of like a little lightning. So this section here would be quite interesting to study, I think. Okay, so I'm going to come out of that, and then we'll talk about this piece of brass, I think, now.
Yeah. Well, you can already see that there is a little hole there.
I'll zoom into that. Yeah, there seems to be, and there's a big one here.
I know.
A big hole and two little holes.
Yeah, right.
So this area was covered up by the top section, this one
exactly.
here.
And
but this wasn't so much, was it?
No.
Yeah.
That's true. But then when you lift it, you can see that there was lots of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then like this little area, you can see that it was connected to the base plate.
Yeah, it actually fused, didn't it?
It fused, yeah. And but it's interesting that you can see also the different colors. Different. I mean, this was, you can see, also very hot.
Was this a piece of pure copper or
no,
brass?
it's the same brass. It's the same material. Everything is the same. That's the part we use. We miss in the Vega Valley. I cut it in pieces and put it here. That's it. Just a quick test with.
And you can see here it's starting from the edge, around this edge, to make a kind of the same kind of valley, but not quite as distinct.
No, I didn't have this. I didn't take the time.
But it's still growing the same kind of magnetic fluid type.
Exactly the same kind of structure, and now it's coming from the outside and not from the inside. So it behaves always different. That's my conclusion. You never have a dull moment. Every time it's different. And now it comes from the outside and not really from the inside. Yeah, there was also activity on the inside, but now it was eating from the outside. And so you need a cavity and you need something where the plasma can hide. That's what this can conclude as well. And this is more of the same.
So with
in my opinion, is more of the same.
Yeah. So with that in mind, we have this idea to, for instance, let's say, take this brass plate and completely clean it down, and then maybe get some emery paper of different grades, and so say do different grit sizes, and do one grit size, another grit size, another grit size, and another grit size, and then have the same, maybe with a squarer piece of brass, and then do the same, and then rotate it through 90 degrees and see which interaction of which grit size promotes the fastest production of a structure similar to the Vega Valley. With the idea being that, like the Lockheed Martin patent, you are forcing the coherence of the material. That is, of course, the electrons are being emitted from both surfaces, and the hydrogen gas will easily permeate in between those two surfaces. And so it's what type of interaction of what type of grit size promotes the process fastest, and whether it's actually that relevant, or whether it's actually a crack with the surface below that's actually the most important thing. Because very clearly this is producing its own structure, and as you know, when we've looked at this under the microscope, it actually has these triangular sections, and these almost like how should we say it, Cambodian watts, these sort of temples that are self-similar and fractal in structure, and they look like energy structures in their own right, and they seem to be what it wants to make in order to support itself. And once which we have characterized these things well, but there should be the ability to create these structures technologically from the outset that match these parameters. But really, could it be as simple as having the right type of material in the right type of plates, arranged in the right arrangement, with just simple things like abrading it, that could end up by producing energy or producing things that you can study with high levels of reliability? So can we get to a point of very reliably producing these structures, which it seems that this is giving us a clue that it might be possible. This is giving us the insight that it definitely can happen. And so in the next video, we're going to talk about another experiment that Henk has done, looking at what drives this, potentially this resonant hiding process, and the outcome of that. So Henk, see you in the next video when you can describe your experiment.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.